Welcome. Brad's house. Nothing special. Just another dump in Long Beach. You know, I call home. Welcome back, guys. And this is part 1 of part 2 of part 3 of part 4. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, we got my camera person back, you can tell. So look, I'm not cameraing. It's not my fault. But thank you guys for watching. And I'm gonna explain a little bit of our new format so that everybody can follow along and hopefully have an idea of how we're moving forward. And that is that on Wednesdays, we're gonna drop a video that's actually filmed and edited by me and this person behind the camera. And on Friday, we're having Wisdom Media do our professional series, and that's gonna be based around all of our partners and everybody involved. So Wednesday's gonna be just like junk, like whatever we can throw at you guys. You know, maybe be one day I'm working on this car, one day we're cooking with Brad, one day we're, you know, snowmobiling with Brad, but Wednesdays are gonna be like our, whatever, what would you call our organic creations of junk and trash and behavior?
Sounds perfect.
All right, and then Fridays we're gonna
remember all that.
Yeah, and Fridays we're gonna be professional, okay, and bring you a professional version of our doings. Anyways, but with no further ado, we are going to start tearing into the tea bucket. We already pulled the tranny out. That was last week. We got it all freshened up and cleaned up. As you know, we've been dealing with oil pressure issues. If you've seen in the past, I've always cried about it for the last year, about low oil pressure, low oil pressure. The motor is running, but there's obviously a bad problem inside of there. And we have a special guest on stage right. Oh. Anyways, we have a special guest coming up, stage right. We'll introduce that guest, I guess, when they arrive. But somebody's here to help us. And it's probably the first time you ever see him tear into an LS motor in his life. But, ooh, I'm already spoiling the spoiler. Hey, I want to thank everybody for reaching out and getting us our merch, shirts, stickers, everything available. You guys are making it that much easier for us to get to our first event as the Bad Daddy Braddy crew with the Bad Daddy Braddy cars. And that would be, and we're shooting, our goals are for the end of April at LS Fest West. Now the funny thing apart that is actually my birthday weekend, and I believe it's our special guest's birthday weekend too, which is funny because I'm gonna make him do something LS Fest West on birthday weekend. But end of April, LS Fest West is our goal, is to have the T-Bucket and the Tacoma out there partying. So this is the cool thing about having this channel in here. Whoa, here goes our special guest, and to stage right, we got Gary King Jr. taking it off from top to bottom, or bottom to top. Look at the hat here we have today. What do we got here, Gary?
Me or this?
Oh,
this,
yes.
You know, me, you know, they had to keep fun, so protect yourself from the sun, you know what I'm saying? So I grabbed my umbrella, hat out the Prius so I could help young Saxton Bradley here with this contraption. Now most people may think I don't work on cars. It's just the fact that I don't like working on my own cars, but I will gladly help a friend work on his. So
did you eat the last hat because it was a pizza?
I gave it to a friend who needed
Allegedly?
Allegedly gave it to a friend who is melanin challenged so he doesn't get burned by the sun.
He says the same thing about me. All right, I gave you a seat here so you can feel a lot like your work at, you know, your job regularly, where you sit and do all your hard working. And we're just gonna have like a little, you do your side, I do my side, we get it all done real quick like.
Quick.
You like that?
Quickly, I don't know. What am I doing here?
First of all, we're gonna play like basketball. Let's see how good we are at basketball.
Basketball is different than this.
We're gonna take the back wires off to the front wires, and we're gonna throw them in the bottom of that box over there.
Okay.
So you think you can handle that? So
Just
back, bottom, top wire like this, pull wire, then toss it in the box. Back wire, top wire, toss it in the box. Don't miss the box.
Kobe.
Bird.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Now those are all. That wasn't too hard. Is that all I got to do?
That was the original Bird right there. You know that, right?
Did you watch basketball?
In the 80s.
Oh man, times have changed, old man.
So now we get the speed wrench and we just go ahead and rip those spark plugs out. These head gaskets are far too good to be just like tossed away, and I kind of want to build a stock motor, so like just a stock all junk shit. I think I might take these head gaskets and a lot of the stuff off of this and reuse it again. That's just because I'm cheap. So you're gonna take off the breather off of that valve cover. And that really eliminates this whole breather system right here. With you guys with the LS's, the breathers are key to this whole.
Like this one.
That's the key to keeping these things really successfully happy, is running a good breather system. They create a lot of crankcase pressure for some odd reason, but you run a good breather, you won't have those problems. So Gary, how was, and can we talk about it? Because I know you're gonna have a video for it.
Possibly, it wasn't a lot of talking, but yes.
You mean there wasn't a lot of videoing?
No, I videotaped me getting passed all the time, but you know.
So you're gonna admit to what you got passed by?
I got passed by a Miata, a S2000, an M4, an M3 coupe, an M2 coupe, a Corvette in green, a Mustang 350 GT, a Mustang GT, a S chassis, another S chassis, an R32, a 350Z, a 370Z supercharged.
Was there anything that didn't pass you?
The time Time kept up with me. That's about it.
The time. What happened to all your superpowers and your kung fu kick and your Maizatsu stickers?
You see, there's no excuse I could give you right now. I haven't tracked in many years, and usually when I track, I drive my R33. For most people that don't know, my R33 runs like garbage. So if you ever see my build breakdown and you
your
think
R33 kind of runs like Uncle Mike's car. What would be that one? The purple people eater?
Don't compare my R33
the popcorn
to that.
people eater?
No, my R33.
Let's just put the link down to the popcorn people eater and the green monster for a heads up drag race sometime in the future.
I could beat that man with no tune. I could beat that man with no tune and 2 left feet before he ever thought of stepping on the drag.
This guy just went to elementary school and got beat up by every kid on the playground. Is gonna go pick.
But the thing is, I have the power, but I don't have technique. So after all 4 of my sessions, I got better and better and better. Considering I'm driving on Bit Willow, huh? It's with time. You can't go in there. Before when you kissed as a kid, you like. But now your boy's a lady slayer. Dime a dozen, just coming in. Just doing what I do best.
Sorry, I just dropped the nut.
I never drop nuts. Always.
And the washer.
There you go. But
make sure to wash her.
I had fun. There's no excuse. I was happy to just drive Big Willow. I'm tired of everybody talking shit. Like, when are you gonna drive? And it's always the people who never drive. So this is the first step. Was it February? So February, Big Willow. Hopefully March, Streets of Willow. But the goal is to drive more, get to Chuckwalla, and eventually this year get the green car running to 90% optimal running and drive Laguna Seca. So thank you, Haltech, for helping me out with the parts for that. Oh yeah, Brad helps too. Brad's gonna help me. He might put nitrous in my R33. Did he tell you?
For drag racing purposes only.
Only rest. Yeah, I don't need that on Laguna Seca.
You don't need that on Laguna Seca. I hope you go to Laguna Seca. If we can possibly go with you, I think that'd be a great, fun thing, because that's a dream track. That's like anybody's dream track to go race at. Even if you're any kind of racer at all, Laguna Seca is just an epic place to have fun. And I want to see Brad drive his car, so that's why he's got me today.
You will drive this at Laguna Seca?
No, he definitely not. He could drive
this at Laguna Seca. He just has to change his tire setup. That's really all
the tire setup from Laguna Seca.
I mean, you need something better than what is this? A Cooper? Hey, yeah, whatever.
Solid, right?
No,
this is definitely not that style of car. So yeah, we would probably have to do that. Another thing we're gonna go through on this car, and you'll notice that motors that run E85, they eat through everything that's plastic and rubber. Well, these lines, they've been getting real brittle, and I leave it out in the California sun, which isn't great. So we're gonna go through and replace all these boost vacuum lines. Try to get this all sorted to a better degree. That is some horse shit right there. I can't find my deep 10. Where's all these, remember they talk about the 10 thing? I even heard Zach say 10 in an American car. Well, I got 10s on my American car.
You always buy 2.
by 2.
Yeah.
I had like 4. I have them in like 1/4 inch. I have them in 1/2 inch, and I can't
But he
find
doesn't
one
have them
deep.
here.
You also have 9 left gloves.
What?
I keep wearing the right one out.
Really got me working on this. This is my first LS. I think I want to get a Corvette. Like if I'm getting an American car, I think I need to get a Corvette.
You've been here for 45 minutes.
It only takes Marina. It only takes 45 minutes. You know. There you go. Here you go.
Hit that. These things are some eBay covers. I love eBay. Thank you guys. But these things have been on here for 2 years, and I had siliconed and done all sorts of things to keep them to seal. And now I'm gonna send them out these to get powder coated. I ordered the new hardware to seal these up, and these are gonna end up on that build, the Tacoma. And we got some new, nicer valve covers for this. And I can already tell you the shit doesn't look good.
Ew.
Now, a lot of that is because we're on E85 and the moisture builds up. You can tell at the top, right there, because it's like, what is that called? But it's water in the air and it turns into that. But if the oil comes out the bottom like that, it's probably not that good either.
So let me explain to kids. From what I've been told, and Brad could probably correct me if I'm wrong because there's an airplane in the air. So from what I've been told is, since I'm switching to E85, I've been trying to do some research. What E85 is special and all that. We already know it's in performance enhancement abilities, but what E85 does, it does attract moisture. So when a lot of people take apart their cars, you can see in his head, he has all kinds of moisture in his head, probably some in the block, in his fuel tank. And since the people tell you don't let your car sit, it's because, not because the E85 is corrosive only to your lines, it's the fact that that moisture gets into your system, and if water gets into your motor mixed with fuel, that's what you don't want. And when detonation and all that happens, shit starts to blow up. So as you can see in his motor, all that kind of stuff, all that water is caused from E85. If you drive your car on a daily basis and it is powered by E85, cool, you can let it sit like a week at the most. But make sure you just run it. Unlike Brad, he lets his car sit for weeks at a time, not by choice, because he's a grown man that has other responsibilities and obligations that he has to attend to, such as feeding me, making sure my house is clean, all that stuff. My brothers and sisters are good.
Yes. Okay. So the biggest thing, and I want to stress this the most, and I was going to talk about projects with everybody in projects because I get approached all the time about affording projects and what you can afford. More cars are more headaches. I'm literally telling you right now. Just because you have more cars doesn't make your project, you're better than somebody else or you're gooder. No. It just means you have twice as many headaches and twice as many holes to chase down. To be honest with you, the guys that have one car and put all their time and energy into one car are a whole lot smarter and ahead of the game. They have less holes to try to fill. And then it's a never-ending thing. Even when you say the project is finished, and all car guys know this, it's not. There's still one more thing on that list you're gonna do. So put 3 or 4 cars on that list, your project list never ends. Now, the greatest thing about this is for you guys, it's just dead endless content, because all we're gonna be doing is breaking things and fixing things. So that's good. But the bad thing is finding the time and the money. T&M, it's like any job, you gotta allocate the time and the money to every project and make it a value to you, or to you what it's worth. Well, my projects are, to me, the value. I just love them. I love driving them, I love sharing them, I love having them. But I also have to spread that out into the year with my children, my home, and all my other livelihoods. And I do appreciate all the merch stuff, because all this merch stuff goes straight into these projects. Trust me, I don't make any money on it. It's project money. But let's get the turbos off.
Okay.
Then we'll get the headers off.
What are these, 12 or 14?
No, all you do is take this off, and I gotta.
It just comes off?
Yeah.
What? You lying, right?
No, you gotta take the oil line off.
Oh.
The little right here. Yeah, it's just that. The whole turbo comes off. The exhaust comes off with the turbo. You take the turbo, the exhaust, the blow-off valve. Everything is one whole. Go ahead. One whole enchilada. Anyways, drag racing. They take the cars apart and put them back together, and they're really accessible. And that was the dream of building this car, is taking it apart and putting it accessible. I'm looking at an exhaust leak. You can see from.
I can see, I'm looking at your welds here, and there's holes right here. There's holes right here. There's holes, there's a gang of, yeah.
There might be an exhaust leak over there.
It might be an exhaust leak. I see 3 toothpick-sized holes there. So imagine, mind you, Brad is, I've seen this man beat on this car consistently for 2 years. And the fact that this is not blown apart is amazing.
And thank you, we gotta say thank you to Max Speeding Rod Turbos, our sponsor. We'll be putting another set of these Max Speeding Rod Turbos. 2 years with no filters. What do you think has gone through here, Gary?
Corn dog debris, E36 paint,
Rats.
most likely rats, Budweiser canned fumes, everything, anything and everything.
Just outstanding
What'd
reviews.
you use for this? Did you just take it off with the thing?
Yeah, I used the gun. That's, I believe,
That's probably a 12 or...
yeah, it's a 12 or 13. It's a weird one. That one's a 13. So yeah, I've had nothing but outstanding good luck with these turbos, and I've beat the shit out of them. I've made 1,000 horsepower with them. I don't overspin my motor, and I don't overboost my turbos. So the most ever boost that my turbos ever see is 22 pounds. And the most my RPMs I've ever seen in my motor, which sounds kind of weird, is 6,800. I mean, that is like, I've only done that a few times. Most of the time, I run my motor out to about 6,400, 6,500 RPMs. I don't run the shit out of my motor. It's like, they sound like they're getting the shit ran out of them, but they're not.
It's amazing how fast all of this came off. And if I was working on my car, I would still be looking at the filter, contemplating. Oh, there's a bolt. There it is.
Yeah, all the hardware just throw up into those boxes, and then I just work out of those boxes when I come back. This turbo should be. These are heavy, huh?
They're not the lightest. Now you know how much stronger I am than Brad. One-arm daddy right here. That thing's as big as you.
Yeah, that's a third of my weight. I know, this header's so smashed on the side because of those valve covers. I'm hoping on the next set of valve covers, I can reorder another set of these eBay headers and not have it smashed. Look at how smashed it is. Right there. See, from here to here. That's from the valve cover.
Hold on, this just, the bolts line up in the center?
Yeah, that's it here. Down
What?
All the LS bolts just go right down the center. One on each side of the tube.
I'm upset. I am genuinely upset right now. And then you can just reach them. Ain't no. Are all LS motors this kind of simple?
No, you put them in the Camaros and the BMWs and all that stuff, and this stuff is impossible to get to. Literally, like, I look at the E-Series, like when they do the conversions,
Yeah.
they gotta reach their hands down into awkward places.
Ew. All kind of water. Oh, I'm getting dirty. Oh, my Nikes. Oh, yay. Hey, look at that, Brad. Yay.
Was water coming out of the exhaust?
It's coming out one of the holes, the ports.
Oh, that's actually because this, so this is one of the other things, when you port an LS head, you can hit the water jacket through this, the threads of that one, and that one gets hit, and so when you take the stud out, it leaks out the stud. So I actually have to JV weld that stud in usually in order for it to not to leak. That's because these are factory casting heads that are ported. So it's an issue that when you port factory heads, you can get real close to the water jacket.
Do you need to do the other side? If I ever get enough money to the point I could just spin wildly, I think I'm gonna just take this one day and then make it over nicely. Like nicely. I will do that for him. Like I'm not gonna build it myself. Heavens no. But I'd be like, Brad, somebody stole your tea bucket. He probably be like, oh, call the police. Even though he knows.
Don't they have a show for that already? No. I personally do not want Exhibit coming in and doing a Pimp My Ride. All of a sudden I have TVs out the back.
You have me. I'm like Exhibit, but I like cars. And I can't rap for shit.
I hooked you up, Brad. Exhibit came. You got your car.
Yo, your boy came through. I put a Holly multi-function display screen in your car so you could function while your car functions. We put some brand new Hoosers in 32, 15, 75 on this boy. You know what I'm saying? All in your car, G. You've officially been unclapped, dog. Does this even use a key?
Yeah, a key.
Here's your key, dog. Oh, thank you, Fat Exhibit. I love you so much. My name is Bradley Saxton, and my car's been unclapped.
Did I use enough silicone, Gary?
I guess. Are you
Was
supposed?
it blocking the air passages?
Yes. Is this just trash? I hope.
Yeah.
This is. You sure you built this? This is not your son's doing?
Give me those. I might want to reuse them later.
Don't reuse those, kids. Get new ones. Are you really going to reuse those?
I don't know. I gotta find them. They're a bitch to find. I'll tell you that.
So what kind of part is this? This is not cathedral, right?
This is cathedral. See how it looks like the top of a church?
Okay.
That's a cathedral. The other ones are like a square.
So it's cathedral. What technical motor is this?
This is an LS1.
Okay.
But there's all sorts of arguments about calling it an LS1. It may be concerned. This is an LQ9. This is an LQ9 block, which is a 6-liter block cast iron. And then I believe an LS2 is a 6-liter block aluminum. And then an LM something. I'm gonna get destroyed. I should go get my book so I can read it right out of it. But in my terms, LS1 would be anything that's cathedral port and the GM series up to, I want to say it's like the 2010-ish, 910-ish. And then they have LS3, which is the square port. And that's the only 2 series that I believe is LS that I call. And then you go into LT, and LT is direct port injected, and that's 2016 and up. And I don't mess with any of those guys. I like the older series motors. I like actual cathedral port. I don't build motors that are in necessity for the square port. Those are guys that are trying to build 1,500 horsepower plus motors. Like, I really am cool with negotiating 500 to 1,000. As you guys have seen, I built a motor that went to 1,000 horsepower and it didn't make the car any faster. So it's maybe the power you negotiate, not the power you make. So we're gonna go backwards on this one. We're gonna make it a little smaller and see if we can make it last a little longer.
So what are you gonna run, like 5? You said 5, so what, like, what's your sweet spot, 8?
740, 750 seems like the number that this car just put all the power to the ground, and the numbers calculated out right. After we poured more boost and more than 700 horsepower, we didn't increase our 60 feet at all, and all we did is mile per hour. So for some reason we were losing other reasons of applying the power. So it's now going back to where I know we've made the power that the speeds we were going, and then slowly applying the power back into the motor. And then like right now, we have low oil pressure, which we've been talking about forever, that I've been babying this thing along for I don't even know how long. So right now we just got to discover what the low oil pressure problem is. King Bearing gave us the bearings to go through the motor. I bought a Millings oil pump to replace the oil pump, and then whatever other damage we do, we can actually have redone because it's all billet. So I can have the crank redone, the rods redone, and then I'll probably throw these pistons away and get a new set of pistons.
How's it cooling with just the 1E fan?
Good. This thing actually cools really well. It's because it's so outside and radiant, like it just radiates all the air and water, it doesn't have a problem. Yeah. That's the other thing that other cars have a problem with. You gotta remember that when they're enclosed and their headers and everything is enclosed in the fender wells, all that heat's kept in. So you're fighting the heat that's coming in, plus you're trying to cool it. My radiator is a 2 foot out in front of everything. The cooling just goes this way, and the heat from the motor just goes this way. So this has like a lot of a air cooling effect to it. And then on E85, it's even harder to get it warm. It takes a minute to get it warmed up. Let's take the hoses off.
These hoses right here?
Those, yeah, we can take those off too.
This is just the water?
That's the water jackets, but let me drop the water here first.
I'm just looking at this.
Those are called steam lines. and that's Steamline kits made by Motion Raceworks. We actually have a new one that we're going to be putting on, a little nicer. This is our first one, and it basically takes all the air pockets out. You should know that because RB guys have air pockets in their cooling systems.
I've got a port on my head so when the car heats up, I have to pretty much open it up, and it lets all the BS out.
So what we do is we first cycle the motor over, and this thing has an electric water pump, so it's super easy. I don't have to turn the car on. I just turn the electric water pump on, and I crack this, and when water starts pouring out, I close it up, and I know the system is bled. And that's the best way to do that. That's a homemade plumber's top radiator hose.
Your car's been running on this setup for how long?
2 years. It's the love that goes into the car. It's not the parts. Okay, I'm telling you guys. If you love and you care about the car you're building, it'll last forever.
So you would hope.
All you guys that don't love your car, that's why it falls apart on you. Like, so if you're ever in a situation, you guys, where you're looking at the water pump and you're like, gosh dang, that ain't gonna work any which way, go with an electric one, and they have a bunch of different options that you can actually take this fitting out and put an A and N fitting in here and do all A and N everything. And in all honesty, they make a rebuild kit so that once you buy this housing, all you buy is this motor to rebuild. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to buy the whole water pump. You can buy the rebuild mode kit and the impeller, and that's all. And it's all rebuildable. It's a lot more than a factory pump, but there's a lot more things you can do with it. At this point, you guys, everybody's worried about getting hardware into the motor. If we haven't taken the motor apart good enough to clean the parts where like those hardware just went, then we're probably not doing anything right.
Look at all that. Look at.
Whoa.
Look at this. Look, I'm just touching stuff. What you thinking?
Look right there on the cam. See the cam, how it's got the scratches? And that's not even a place where it's supposed to be having scratches.
It's a goddamn shame.
Any damage?
Just water. Just a lot.
Yeah, that's just the water from going in. Damn, those pistons are all good.
You want it in this box?
Yeah. Everything I was expecting to be bad is not bad. I was expecting to see this cam bearing pushed out inside there. It's not. Yeah, everything that I wanted to see bad hasn't been bad. That's not necessarily good. That's not necessarily bad. See how this thing
You
goes.
got multi-layer head gaskets too?
Yeah.
Oh. Yo. I bet that's so nice.
So nice. So nice. I'm telling you, my wrists kill sometimes.
Imagine if you had these tools when you were my age. This is coming apart. You know, I'm gonna be honest, it's like my first time taking apart a motor for a car. I've took apart like a reciprocating engine, somewhat of a turbine motor for like a 737, but regular motor, no. I'll be honest.
I think I've been down this deep with Marina the last time we did the heads. We were about into it this far, but we're gonna be going into it.
Or
No, it's probably...
Careful, don't touch the rat poop.
that's rat poop?
Yes.
Why you got rat shit on your engine?
Because it's a rat rod.
Ah.
To be certified rat rod, it has to technically have the poo-poo in the motor. I mean, you're just half-assing it if you don't have poo-poo in the motor. It would be like a hot rod if it didn't have any rat shit in it. Get the oil drain back for the turbos. Mounts it nice and low on the oil pan. That was about the best thing I did on this. Make sure you get your drain backs nice and clear and big. You can't oversize your drain backs.
I think mine is a 10.
That's what these are. Oh, these might be 12. Now, if we see a bunch of nasty oil and residue, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Is drain the oil. I was like, man, this thing's really, really heavy. That's because the oil's still in it.
Oh,
well, I'm just checking to make sure that the dipstick was at the proper level.
Right?
So if I take it out, then I know that that was the proper level. And the dipstick said full, and I can tell by where this was, it was the proper level.
So I usually always take my oil pan out to check my oil.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't know that's the way the Japanese do it on Skylines.
They take the oil pan off like this, and they go, oh, see? And if you guys look right, there's a baffle right here where my finger is, and that's so that the crank doesn't come up and slosh all the oil up. But like, wow, that's really not so bad, but this is not so good. You see that?
Oh, what is that?
Those are bearings.
Oh, great.
Now we've got to see where.
Let's just be a lesson, kids. Don't just go into your car after you see oil dripping from your oil motor. I'm off today, but I'm on.
In 2 years of utter abuse for what I did to this, oh yeah. You guys all remember, for the first year I had this, I had really bad boost creep problems. So it was supposed to be set at like 14 to 20 pounds, and it would easily creep up to 22 PSI, no problem if I look at the logs. Well, that's not all that great for the setup that I have. I really only have the setup made for 1,000 horsepower, and when we get over 22 pounds, we're making well over that 1,000 horsepower. You guys, this might be the problem. See this rod? The bolts are actually backed out. Look at that. Finger tight bolts. So we'll just take this piston out first to see, but I can almost guarantee, oh, both these rods. Look at this one. This rod backed out, and this rod. These two tender cylinders have crank damage. So let's see. I guess that means that we have to turn the crank, turn the rods, and put new bearings in. That's not so bad. Let me take these out and send them up to Gary, and we'll go from there. This all needs a good hot tank. There's metal in the intake or the screen for the oil pickup. So, but again, 2 years of absolute just carnage. We've just been nothing but mean to this motor. So I'll accept that. I'm almost positive when the rod bolt is rounded off, like there's no teeth on the rod bolt, it's no good. I'm waiting to see what, look this rod bolt, look. So that's what it's supposed to look like. Oh yeah. So this journal on this crank, we're gonna have to have fixed, I think. It's pretty rough. So 2 years of litter abuse, and look at the minor scratches that we have. I've seen, look at the top of this is just perfect. I mean, oh, you took that ring out though, huh?
The ring came out of the top when it came out.
Oh, it's not split, so
No,
we're good.
It just came off.
Yeah, no, these are absolutely phenomenal. So there's nothing wrong with this. This bad boy is ready to rock and roll again. We're gonna this is the problem. And
that was a bearing.
That was a bearing, and it's now welded to the rod. And I can tell you this rod shot. So you see the discoloration in the rod? That means the rod shot. It's already overheated. So it looks like I'm probably gonna have to replace 2 rods at least, because when the rods discolor like that, that means not so good. Not so good. Yeah, so this side, this crank journal looks good, and the bearings don't look bad at all. So accurate?
It's a little out. There you go. Oh, there you go.
Here you go. So those ones look good. 7 and 8 look good. So 3 and 4 were our problem childs. Yeah, it's one bearing. Wow. See, this is even, the crank's still solid. So instead of just taking all this apart, what we're gonna do is gonna put the engine lift on it. We're gonna pull this engine bolt and this engine bolt, and we're gonna lift it up and take it out like that, because I can basically take it to the machine shop now.
Like it is?
Like it is, and they'll give it back to me cleaned, ready for the bearings. So, and then I can reassemble it. But yeah, that was it. We lost 2 rod bearings. So thank you guys for watching. Block's coming out. We're gonna get this rod bearing replaced. We're gonna slam it back together with all these parts. I mean, everything was good with 1 rod bearings. Story of our life, racing life. And back to another video.
Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, hit that notification bell, and we got some more hot shit coming for you kids. Have a great day, and remember, have a great day.